Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Craig Zamary. I'm a business consultant here at the SBDC at YSU, and we're thrilled to kick off today's session, which is part 2 of our 3-part series on exploring tech transfer and commercialization of NASA technologies. And it's focused on innovation, tech transfer, and licensing. So whether you're looking to start a new company or enhance an existing product or create a new product line, you can gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace by putting NASA technology to work for you. NASA's tech transfer program ensures that innovation developed for exploration and discovery are broadly available to the public, maximizing the benefit to the nation. This will be a very exciting session, and the purpose is to help you learn about how to license the technology from NASA. Before I introduce our guest, we'd like to provide a quick outline of today's session. Amy will begin with a presentation, and then we'll take a brief strategic pause to open it up for Q&A. My teammate, Jenna Binsley, will be monitoring the chat as well as the Q&A, so please feel free to drop any questions in there, and Jenna will get those over to our guest speaker. After the Q&A, we will bring up the NASA Tech Transfer site, and we're going to do a real-time search on technologies so you can see how that works and know how to take the next steps. We think you're going to be really surprised to see and start to explore some of the many great technologies that are out there and available to license. Finally, we'll do a brief Q&A and then a summary of the session. So with that, let's begin. We're super excited to invite Amy Hiltabidel. Amy is the licensing manager for NASA Glenn Technology Transfer Office. In her role, she serves as the primary point of contact for all Glenn licenses, managing the agreements through negotiations, execution, and maintenance. As a seasoned licensing professional, she brings great breadth and depth to the Glenn TTO licensing team. Amy has over a decade of experience assisting government and industrial technology transfer with companies of all sizes in a variety of industries. This involves intimate understanding of both parties' needs and cultivating strong partnerships. Amy's areas of expertise include technology and intellectual property assessment, technical writing, business analysis, and database management. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Polymer Engineering from Case Western Reserve University. Amy, at this time, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Super, thanks, Craig. I'm so excited to be here and to talk to you about NASA, Glenn Research Center, and accessing NASA's technology for commercialization. NASA has 10 field centers located throughout the United States. In addition to the field centers, NASA has many installations where highly specialized testing, building of aircraft and spacecraft, and verification occur. You can see that Glenn Research Center, practically in your backyard, is the only NASA field center located north of the Mason-Dixie line. You can also see that NASA Glenn has an installation outside of Sandusky, Ohio, that was formerly called Plumbrook Station. This installation is now called the Neil A. Armstrong Test Facility. Each field center and installation provide unique services, research, and technology to further NASA's missions. Our next big mission is Artemis. NASA is committed to landing American astronauts, including the first woman and the next man, on the moon by 2024. Through the agency's Artemis Lunar Exploration Program, we will use innovative new technologies and systems to explore more of the moon than ever before. We will collaborate with our commercial and international partners to establish sustainable missions by 2028. And then we will use what we learn on and around the moon to take the next giant leap, sending astronauts to Mars. NASA Glenn has many goals and top priorities, which are shown here on this chart, but I would like to call your attention to the final priority, external partnerships, and it's why I'm here. NASA Glenn values its partnerships with entities in our local and regional ecosystem. We hope to develop opportunities that promote innovation, NASA technology commercialization, and small business growth within Ohio and surrounding states. We also hope to enhance communication and collaboration with industry, academia, government, and other federal research laboratories throughout the Midwest region. I'm so glad I'm here today to start that conversation with you. NASA Glenn develops novel technology in a number of key areas as outlined on this slide. And NASA Glenn is also the Center of Excellence for Power and Propulsion and Materials and Coatings for Extreme Environments. Glenn Research Center patents roughly 10% of all invention disclosures submitted. You can see that Glenn has over 200 patents and patents pending available for license, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. The Technology Transfer Office has worked really hard to make finding NASA's technology easier by creating industrially relevant categories you see here. All patented and patent pending technologies from each field center are sorted into these categories, which can then be browsed or searched very easily on our website, technology.nasa.gov. NASA Glenn makes it even easier by having a technology manager available. Look at all those smiling faces. The tech managers promote their portfolios and look for companies to license the technology in their sector. And since we're talking about promotion, obviously the materials and coatings portfolio is where you can find the absolute best technology. All kidding aside, I'm sure you can find some pretty good technology if you were to talk with my colleagues. In fact, we enjoy talking with potential partners about their technology challenges and trying to find good solutions developed by NASA. Licensing from NASA is also easy. We offer 4 types of license agreements to meet your needs. First up is the Evaluation License Agreement. This agreement allows for a sort of test drive of a NASA technology. It has a set fee of $2,500 and a set term of 1 year that can be renewed annually for up to 3 years. The evaluation license allows a licensee to investigate the commercial viability of a NASA technology with minimal risk. The evaluation license is not a full rights license, however. NASA does restrict the right to sell or offer for sale. The Startup NASA License Agreement is ideally suited for startup companies. This license has set business terms favorable for startup companies. The terms are no upfront fee and no annual minimums for the first 3 years. An annual minimum royalty of $3,000 begins in year 4, and there is a running royalty rate of 4.2% of net sales that starts on day 1. This is a non-exclusive, full rights commercial license. The government use license is for entities seeking to use a NASA technology in support of a U.S. government-funded project. These licenses have no fees or royalties, but do have a term matched to the period of performance for the U.S. government-funded project. This license is ideally suited for SBIR, STTR, contracts, grants, cooperative agreements, and, in some cases, Space Act agreements. This is not a full rights license. The licensee may use the technology in support of its U.S. government-funded project. Finally, the commercial license is a full rights license that is individually negotiated. These licenses can be non-exclusive or exclusive in a field of use. In addition to our patents, NASA also develops a whole bunch of software codes to support our mission work. NASA makes these software codes available to U.S. entities at no cost. As you can see, the software is organized into convenient and industrially relevant categories to make searching and browsing easier. NASA transfers executable software codes via software usage agreement. Software usage agreements contain terms and conditions specific to the release of that code. To search or browse available software, visit software.nasa.gov. NASA also partners with industry and academia using the Space Act agreement. Space Act agreements are very similar to Cooperative Research and Development Agreements, or CRADAs. They outline the statement of work, specific tasks and milestones, who is paying for what, data and intellectual property rights, and liabilities, among other stuff. Space Act agreements come in two flavors: reimbursable, where the partner pays for NASA's costs to perform the work, and non-reimbursable, where NASA and the partner each pay their own costs for performing the work. Generally, non-reimbursable Space Act agreements are used when the proposed work furthers NASA's missions, and reimbursable Space Act agreements are used when the proposed work are in line with NASA's missions but does not help advance it. There are a whole bunch of other factors that go into making these decisions, and our Space Act agreement managers are able to assist in making these decisions and selecting the proper instrument. So I hope you have a little bit of a better understanding of how easy it is to find NASA's technology. I also hope after we're done today that you come away with a feeling that NASA Glenn is ready and open for business. NASA Glenn's Technology Transfer Office is available to assist you, and please feel free to reach out to me or my colleagues. Craig and his crew are going to provide my slides to you, so you'll have all of our contact information, and we're ready to help you. Thanks. Over to you, Craig.
Thanks, Amy. That was a great presentation, and it was an excellent overview, and also for different phases. So really appreciate that. That's very thorough. Thank you. This is the part where we wanted to take a little break and go to the Q&A before showing the interactive part of doing a search on NASA Tech Transfer site for the technology. So I just want to turn it over to Jenna at this time.
Yeah, sure. And so in the Q&A here, we had the question of approximately how many technologies are available to license from NASA?
So that's a really good question. Right now in our catalog, we have nearly 2,000 patented and patent pending technologies available for licensing. And in our software catalog, I couldn't get an exact number. They told me oodles, but I'm going to guess it's a few thousand software codes that are available also at no cost.
Wow, okay. And another question we have on here too is who can license technology from NASA?
So that's a really good question, Jenna. So generally, we have just really one restriction when licensing NASA technology. We want the licensed technology manufactured substantially in the US. And what we mean by that is greater than 51% of that licensed technology is manufactured or sourced within the United States. As you know, taxpayers have paid for this research, and we really want any commercialization efforts to ultimately benefit our taxpayers who paid for that research. So that's really the only restriction we have. We may, if there's certain countries where we don't have diplomatic relations, and folks who are citizens of those countries may cause, some issues, but we can work through any of those issues.
Okay.
All right, so I should thank you very much, Jenna and Amy. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here in a moment.
Okay.
Okay, can you see the Google search there?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. Just wanted to show, just in case, if even afterwards, and as Amy mentioned as well, we'll have slides and supportive documentation and materials for you. But just in case you forget, you could go in and do a quick Google search for NASA Tech Transfer. When you do that, you'll see it pops up right there. And this is the main part of their site. And just like a Google search, you could just go in here and click some of the areas that may be of interest to you or aligns with the strengths of your company. I'm going to just show you two quick searches here. So I just typed in high stress, and so this pulled up it says detecting high stress in interviews and text. It has a patent only, no software available for the license. And what this does, it gives you a really good snapshot of the technology here, outlines the benefits, applications, talks more about the technology. They have a nice fact sheet here that you could go through, where you could go in a little bit deeper and learn some more about it. And then when you go back, Again, it has a little bit of some more information and the area that the portfolio comes from. You'll see over here is apply now or contact us. And I'm going to show you one other one real quick too. I'm going to type in here just exercise. And this is another really just cool technology and innovation. This is the International Space Station Advanced Resistive Exercise Device. So they're basically came up with a solution to be able to still build muscle and maintain muscle while in outer space. And so it's a resistive exercise. And you could go through here and look at the benefits to the applications for here on how to use those things. And again, it has supportive documentation. You can take a look at here where they show some more pictures and more information in the benefits as you go through that. So we wanted to take a second just to kind of show you that when you do searches, these are really well organized, and then you have the opportunity here to either click now for, to apply, or if you want to contact NASA about this in case you have more questions. But I wanted to show that to you and just stop here for a second to turn it back to Amy to say, if this was me looking at this technology and wanted to license it, once I fill out this form and hit submit, what are some of the things I should probably expect from a high level for the next steps?
Sure. So if you go through and you fill out this contact us form, it'll be submitted to our, we have a licensed concierge. He's located in at Marshall down in Huntsville, Alabama. He will take this information. He will reach out to you and follow up to make sure that you know that we received it, and ask any kind of preliminary questions like specific interests, or if you have specific questions, things that he can answer. What he will do, his name's Corey, by the way, he will send it to the relevant center to follow up on. So if that's a Glenn technology, it'll come to me. And so you'll get a call from me or an email, and I will try to schedule some time so that we can talk. That's usually the easiest way to get at the heart of the interest, is to have a discussion, talk to you about what need you're trying to fulfill with this technology, or are you starting up a new business based on this technology? How do you envision using it? That kind of stuff. I'll also tell you all the warts that are there on that technology, just so that you're well aware, because they all come with warts, of course. Some may require a little bit more development. We may have inventors who have retired, so we just have data packages to provide licensees of that technology. There's a whole bunch of other things that can happen, but we'll have that discussion so that you are fully aware of what you're looking at and whether or not you want to move forward with the next step, which would be to talk about licensing.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you very much. That's a great response. I appreciate that. Jenna, I wanted to turn back to you to see if there's any other questions come up in the Q&A for Amy.
Yeah, so we have two in here. So one says, can you explain the difference between an exclusive and non-exclusive license?
Sure. So NASA, for our commercial licenses, we will license those either exclusively or non-exclusively. Our preference is to license non-exclusively, which means that we can have many of the same license with many partners. So it's not just a one partner type of license. We can have many, meaning non-exclusive. NASA does not negotiate licenses that are fully exclusive, like across the board, all geographic areas, all fields of use, all that stuff. We would like to have exclusivity defined in such a way that it is defensible, but we can have multiple licenses in different fields of use. An example would be a material. So, maybe we would license the material for application in automobiles. Someone else would license it as fairing for space vehicles. Maybe someone else license it as insulation in apparel, for example. And so we could have 3 licenses. Each one has their field of use. They're definable, defensible. We could keep everyone separate so that there's no fights. And they all operate individually with the NASA technology. We like to spread it out. So we want to have these technologies practiced as widely as possible. And so we want to make sure that we have multiple folks working on the technology, developing it into commercial products that will come back and benefit the taxpayer.
Okay, great. And then the last one we have in here, it says, are there other government technology transfer offices that we can license technology from? For example, the DoD, Department
Sure.
of
So that's
Defense.
that's a great question. And it's interesting. So I think, I'm also partial, but I think that NASA kind of sets the bar for having its technology out there, searchable, easy to access. There's people managing these portfolios. You can talk to them, you can call them up. It's actual people. Not all of the agencies are as user-friendly. And some of the agencies also use what's called a partnership intermediary to handle tech transfer type of activities. So I know the Department of Defense has PIAs in place with a bunch of different groups who handle their websites, their tech transfer stuff, their licensing, those kinds of things. You might have to shop many sites to get the same information that NASA has in one website. There's also another place to look, which is the Federal Laboratory Consortium. So the Federal Laboratory Consortium set up, it's a government entity that's managed by NIST, and they have a pretty comprehensive website where a lot of agencies will push their available technology for licensing to their website. So it's a place to go shopping. You can look there. Now, I don't know how often it's updated, how frequently the information is pushed out, but you can get a sense of available technology or the types of technology available at that agency. So then you can contact that agency and talk to them a little bit more about what else is available, what else may be there in this specific area that you're looking for. One of the things that I always found interesting is like the USDA has these, they fund people to develop new seed variants for plants, crops and stuff. Apples, like all the different types of apples that we buy in the grocery store, they all have patents on them that you can license, and you can develop that and commercialize it. It's pretty cool. So, but would you know that? No, who would know that? So it's a great place to go, and you could go and you can look and do some shopping and identify some cool stuff for some new potential products.
That's great. And we also had another question pop in too. It says, approximately how long does the process take?
So also an awesome question. So you would think working with the government, it would take forever and a day. And sometimes it does. We do ask for patience, but licensing tends to move along a little bit quicker. So our evaluation licenses that I talked about, those can be executed in about 4 to 6 weeks. A government use license, also 4 to 6 weeks. The startup license requires a little bit of a longer time because that is a commercial license. And I'm going to say about 2 months at most to get those executed. Non-exclusive commercial licenses are along about 2 months. And then when we're talking about exclusivity, there's a couple of things that happen with that. We have to advertise our intent to grant an exclusive license in the Federal Register. And so that adds about 15 days to our timeline. Otherwise, an exclusive license will take probably about 2 to 4 months to fully execute.
Okay, and then someone else in here, they also asked, they said, can you share any cool success stories of licensing from NASA? So some of those companies that have done really well with this.
Sure. So we have a small company, it's a startup company in Boston, who took one of our insulating materials and has a collaboration with an apparel company, and they're going to be launching their first product the end of 2021. So that'll be a commercial product that'll be launched, and we're really excited for that because that's going to come with some pretty good fanfare, and that's a real tangible product, right? Consumers can really get behind that. That same company also developed that technology as an insulating layer for Ford vehicles who have I think it's the Duratec engine. So it's an insulating layer that's in all Ford vehicles now. And they're also working with Airbus on an insulating layer in the decorative portion of the aircraft. So pretty cool stuff, neat applications. There's a local company in Ohio who developed one of our technologies. They're still working on it, but the idea is to provide the last mile delivery for temperature sensitive things such as vaccines, for example. And we're really excited about that. We're going to learn some more on Monday. So that's like a real-time development, and we'll learn more on Monday. And hopefully we'll be issuing a press release on that one here very shortly.
Okay, that's great. And Craig too. So that looks like all the questions we have in our Q&A here. So I'll hand it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Jenna. Amy, I wanted to see if, before we wrap up, is there any maybe additional slides that you would like to share with everyone, or even any final thoughts, suggestions, recommendations for ways for companies as well as the startups and entrepreneurs to engage and work with NASA?
Sure. So, you might think that approaching the federal government or approaching NASA is a daunting task, but you get to work with cool people like me, right? And I hope that I come across as friendly and helpful, because we all are, and that is our goal. So my recommendation is just to ask the question. There's the worst anyone says to you is no, right? That really is the worst. And generally we find a way to work with you. So we'll find a way to make it work. We might make a referral to some of our sister centers or colleagues at other centers who have more appropriate technology, or innovators that are readily available to assist you in solving your problem. That would be my recommendation, is just don't hold back. Just go out there and ask the question. I think I should also mention too that anytime you talk to a government employee, we have to maintain all that stuff as confidential. So if you are talking to us about something that is sensitive to your business or business proprietary, you say to us, hey, look, I need to keep this confidential, and we are bound by federal law to keep it as such. So I'm hoping that that provides you with a little bit of comfort, especially when we're talking about sensitive things. And I know with business that, being first to market, being the first to introduce your new products, that's really, really important to your competitive position. And we are very sensitive to that, and we will keep that information proprietary. I also wanted to talk a little bit about licensing and what's required in that application. So I am going to try to share this application. Here we go. Okay. So when Craig was going through the live walkthrough of our website, showing you how simple it is to search for a technology, and he clicked one link that said contact us, and it came up with a short form to find out some more information and get introduced to someone at that field center. There's also another link there that says apply now. And I wanted you to see what kind of information is asked for in this application. So some of this stuff is generated by the system, like application ID, application type, tech ID, that kind of stuff. But essentially we want to know who you are, how we can get in contact with you, how did you find out about the tech transfer opportunity, and any other details that you might want to put in. This stuff is generated by the system, so you don't have to worry about that. Then we'd like to know a little bit more about your company. So ideally, we want companies that have some sort of US presence. So they don't have to be US-based companies, but we do want them to have some US presence. And we want a little bit more information about where you're located and where you've been incorporated, how long you've been incorporated. So some basics. And then if you have an annual report, we'd like to see that. For larger companies who are publicly traded, they would have those on their website. And any kind of previous licenses or tech transfer history that you might have. Then we go into a little bit more details about how you intend to use the NASA technology and the markets and the applications and what you know about those markets and applications. We're trying to get out, do you know who your competition is? How are you going to penetrate that market? How do you identify your competitors? How do you distinguish against your competitors? Would this technology provide you with that advantage to give you the distinction? And market size, a little bit about what you plan to do to develop it into a commercial product, and a wag at how much money you need. So we know you need a lot of money. So this is really just a wag and where the money's coming from. A little bit more about your plans, like where you're going to manufacture, where you are going to move this technology, what kind of markets those are, a little bit more about that. And then performance milestones. These are important for us in the license agreement itself. So that these will be included as an appendix at the end of the license agreement. And we will use those to track what we call practical application. So that's an important milestone in a license agreement. That's where we want to move all our licensees towards, is practical application, where you've taken that technology, you've demonstrated it, and you have begun moving it into the marketplace. You started some sales, maybe you did some beta tests, that kind of stuff. That's where we would like to see you going. And these timelines with milestones are important for us to track your progress, and we expect these to be updated annually, because, you know, stuff happens and things change, and we all know what happens to good plans. They change. And if it's a commercial license, we'll ask you to propose some business terms, and, you know, we can discuss these things and any other information that you would want to provide to us about your company and you, and why, what inspired you to license this technology, and what products you intend to develop and why they're important and all that stuff. These are, you know, good essay questions. So I hope that that makes you feel a little bit better about our application. You see, it's only 4 pages, but of course, with the content you put in, it'll be a little bit bigger. But it's not really all that onerous. You know, we try to design this to be pretty easy for anyone to apply for a license agreement and have access to our technology, because really, ideally, we want to move this stuff out and have it come back as in products or services or something to improve, you know, our quality of life here in the United States.
Great, thank you, Amy. That was super helpful, and I really appreciate you taking the time to show everyone walking through that application process. I think that helped outline the steps and what's needed. And again, thank you for doing that. Any other final thoughts, suggestions to the folks that are listening in today?
You know, I think that if you have some ideas or if you have questions, please reach out to us. Like I've said, that we're here to help you. We love working with our friends in the state of Ohio, and we'd like to cultivate more of those relationships and have more licensees in Ohio. So that would be super. Please reach out to us. We're here to help you, and any questions that you have, reach out, please.
Excellent. Now that's very helpful. So again, Amy, we truly appreciate you taking time to help our attendees learn about how to license the technology from NASA. We wish to thank you and NASA, Glenn, for your time today. Also, special thanks to Jenna Binsley for designing all the digital materials and setting up these sessions, as well as Cody Allen and our director of our SBDC, Pat Weiss, for having this program available for our clients and others. I just really want to thank everyone for attending today. Please join us tomorrow as well at 11 a.m. That is part 3 of our 3-part series here. That session will be focusing on leveraging government funding and technology expertise for businesses. So again, thank you everyone, and we wish you to have a great day and enjoy the nice weather. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.